So, you've been in a car wreck in Texas. It wasn't your fault, and you think the insurance company paying for the repairs is pretty much the end of it, right? Well, what if I told you there's a hidden financial loss, potentially thousands of dollars that you're owed, and that they're banking on you never finding out about? All right, let's get into it. Okay, just picture this with me. You've got a beautiful 2024 Ford F-150. Bam, you get rear-ended. But hey, the body shop does an absolutely incredible job. I mean, the truck looks perfect, like it just rolled off the showroom floor. You've been made whole. Or so you think.
Not so fast. Flash forward 2 years, you go to trade it in, the dealer pulls up the Carfax, sees that accident history, and right away, knocks $7,000 off the trade-in value. Just like that. Poof! That's $7,000 that comes straight out of your pocket. Well, that loss has a name, and in Texas, you have a legal right to get that money back.
So what is this secret financial hit? It's called diminished value. And really understanding what that means, well, that's your first and most important step to recovering the money that is rightfully yours. Okay, so in plain English, diminished value is the difference between what your car was worth 1 second before that crash and what it's worth the second after it's been perfectly repaired. And you might ask, why the drop? It's because the market, real buyers, real dealerships, will always pay less for a car that's been in a wreck. It's a stigma, a black mark on its history that sticks to it forever. And please, don't let an adjuster try to confuse this with regular old depreciation. That's totally different. Depreciation is the slow, natural loss of value that happens to every car over time from just, age and mileage. We all expect that. But diminished value, that's a sudden, immediate drop in value caused by one specific negative event, the crash. One is natural, the other is not. And this isn't just some made-up idea. It is baked right into Texas law. The whole legal system here is built on a principle of being made whole. A really important case, Thomas v. Oldham, made it crystal clear. You're not just owed money for the repairs, you're owed the difference in the car's actual market value. The key thing to remember is this: fixing the metal doesn't fix the car's financial history. So the theory is great, but how do you actually get paid? Well, you have to prove it. You have to prove your loss. So think of this next part as us building your toolkit, getting you everything you need to build an ironclad case. And it really just breaks down into 4 straightforward steps. We're going to gather your documents, we'll establish that pre-crash value, then we prove the drop in value after the repairs, and finally, you make your formal demand. See? It's a logical process that turns your feeling of being wronged into cold, hard evidence.
First things first, your repair file. This is your foundation. You need every single piece of paper, the initial estimate, any supplemental estimates, and there are almost always supplements, the final bill, and the parts list. Why? Because this paper trail tells the story. It proves exactly what was damaged and what was replaced, and that's especially important if you had major structural repairs, because that's where the big diminished value comes from.
Okay, next, you have to establish what your car was worth a split second before the wreck. You can use your maintenance records to show you took great care of it. And then go online and find a few local listings for cars that are identical to yours. Same year, make, model, similar mileage, but with a clean accident history. This creates a real-world baseline for its value.
And now for the most important part, proving the drop. A great way to do this is to go to a couple of dealerships and get a written trade-in offer that specifically says the lower value is because of the accident. You can also find online listings for cars like yours that do have an accident history to show that price gap. But your single most powerful piece of evidence by a long shot is a professional appraisal. I'm telling you, getting a professional appraisal completely changes the game. It's no longer just your opinion versus the adjusters. It's an expert's report. For any newer car or higher value vehicle, an appraisal isn't just a piece of paper, it is your sword in this fight. It signals to the insurance company that you are serious and you have the objective facts to back it up. So you've gathered your evidence, you've got your sword, now it's time for the battle plan. Because you are going to have to negotiate with an insurance adjuster. And trust me, they have a script they follow every single time. But now you're going to have a better one. This is almost always the first thing you're going to hear. I can practically guarantee it. They'll say, hey, the car is fixed, it looks great, our job here is done. It is a standard issue denial, and it's designed to make you just give up and go away. And here is your calm, confident, and law-backed reply. You agree with them. Yes, the physical damage is fixed. But then you introduce the proper legal term, inherent diminished value. You're not arguing. You are simply stating a fact of the market and a fact of Texas law. This immediately shows them that you know your rights. Now, if they can't deny your claim outright, they'll pivot to Plan B. They'll offer you a tiny amount of money based on something they call the 17-cent formula. This is their go-to trick to dramatically lowball your claim.
So what on earth is this mysterious formula? Well, it's a calculation that insurance companies absolutely love because it was basically designed from the ground up to spit out a very, very small number. But here's the thing, it is riddled with flaws that completely fall apart as soon as you look at them.
First off, it comes from a class action lawsuit in Georgia all the way back in 2001. We're in Texas. The Georgia Insurance Commissioner doesn't even endorse it for use in Georgia anymore. So why in the world would a Georgia formula apply to your specific claim under Texas law today? Simple. It doesn't.
But here's the biggest, most ridiculous flaw. The formula just decides completely out of thin air that your vehicle cannot possibly lose more than 10% of its value. It doesn't matter if you drive a 10-year-old Kia or a brand new Rolls-Royce. It doesn't matter if you had a tiny bumper scratch or massive frame damage. It's a totally arbitrary cap that has zero basis in reality or the actual market.
And this is how you shut that nonsense down. You simply state the fact. Texas law deals with actual market loss, not some junk formula from another state. You pivot the conversation right back to your evidence, your professional appraisal, your dealer quotes, your real-world proof.
Okay, now having all the right arguments is great, but none of it means anything if you miss a deadline or you fall into a legal trap. This part is incredibly important, so please listen closely.
Here's the deal. In Texas, you're on a clock. It's called the statute of limitations, and for property damage, it's 2 years. That clock starts ticking the second the wreck happens. It doesn't wait. If you try to file a claim 2 years and 1 day after the wreck, your right to that money is gone. Forever.
And now for the single most important warning I can possibly give you. If you were injured in this accident, and I mean even if you just feel a little stiff or have a headache, stop. Do not rush to settle your car claim. There's a complicated legal landmine called res judicata, and it basically means you can't sue the same person twice for the same incident. If you sign a release to get paid for your car, you could accidentally sign away your right to ever recover money for your medical bills. Bottom line, your health is infinitely more important than your car's value. Get that handled first.
And that really brings us full circle, back to that core principle. Being made whole goes so much deeper than just dents and dollars. It's about your property, yes, but it's also about your health and your financial security. Your car's diminished value is just one piece of a much bigger puzzle. So the real question you need to ask yourself is, after everything is said and done, have you truly actually been made whole?